Keir Starmer's a wanker.
Anyone but Labour?
Anyone but Labour.
What do you make of Labour's performance in this by-election?
Terrible.
It's time for a change for Wales.
What would your message to Keir Starmer be?
Pull your finger out.
Just falling apart. They've got to pull themselves together, and I can't see them doing it.
We are the underdog at the moment. If you look at it in the result tonight, we're definitely the underdog.
I don't think you can wipe Labour out completely because you've got generations and generations and generations of people who voted Labour.
Those flowers, sir, is that for the funeral of Welsh Labour?
For my lady.
If you could say something to Keir Starmer, what would your message to him be?
Give up.
Labour and Caerphilly, Caerphilly and Labour. For over a century, that's been the deal here. But that bind was broken by Plaid Cymru, who won the by-election for the Senedd seat here in South Wales.
Plaid Cymru, the man you know.
Plaid Cymru, the Party of Wales. 15961.
There's been a big reaction to this. People are still picking over the bones of what it all means. One of the key takeaways was Reform UK and their perhaps underwhelming performance.
Not these people from London.
You had Farage come up to the constituency.
Yes.
He's obviously really disappointed. Do you feel a bit embarrassed that you had the big boss come up and that you couldn't follow through?
Sorry, embarrassed. I think the person who should be embarrassed is Keir Starmer.
There's obviously a Plaid element here as well. Are they the new de facto voice for left-wing people in Wales? But all the attention has been on Labour's dismal performance. People are talking about the death of Welsh Labour. Labour in Wales is dead. Do you agree with that assessment?
Oh, big time. Yes.
We'll find out a bit more about how true that is at next May's Senedd elections. But what is clear following this by-election result is that the writing is on the wall.
Powell, Llyr Thomas, Reform UK, 12113. Tunnicliffe, Richard, Welsh Labour, 3713. Whittle, Lindsay, Jeffrey, Plaid Cymru, the Party of Wales, 15961.
Hi Hugh, thanks for taking the time. It's obviously not the result that you wanted, but did you expect the scale of defeat to be this bad?
We thought we could push closer, but I think what's happened in the last couple of weeks particularly, these are elections now where people look at the polling as the election is going on, and that can sway people to think, well, where do I put my vote? Particularly those people who chose to put their vote tactically to say, how do we defeat reform? And there has been a lot of that in the doors. And we've seen it the last couple of weeks more and more. People saying, look, we'd love to vote Labour, we'd love to stick with you, but our biggest priority in this by-election, as opposed to next May's election, is how do we lock the door against reform?
Is there not any accountability on Labour's side in terms of policy or its role in the Senedd that is being reflected in the result here tonight?
Yeah, there is definitely. The stuff that we've done over the last 15 years, when we've had cuts in budgets every year under a Tory government, when we've defended public services, we didn't actually remind ourselves that we have to tell people about that. We did it even in the face of austerity, in the face of that financial adversity. We kept defending all of that, but we did what no politician should forget. You have to tell people and remind them. You've got to tell people about the stuff that
But is
you've
it
done.
just a comms issue? Is it not a foundational policy issue where what is being put forward is being deemed not good enough as well?
No, I don't think so at all. If you look right back to what we've done years ago, things like in Wales, where now people take for granted the fact that we have free parking in hospital grounds, that we have free prescriptions. That's saving a fortune for families, that we have rolled out. It's great to see UK Labour's offer now on childcare, but we have had for years the most ambitious childcare offer in the whole of the UK. But we also have to tell people about that. So that's part of it. But going forward, there's something more fundamental. We, working with UK Labour, have to now actually say what's our forward offer. We've got 6 months to the May elections. 6 months is a long, long time. So in that 6 months, we've got to put out a really compelling prospectus.
Is there going to be a reckoning in Welsh Labour over this, the scale of the defeat?
No, what there will be is we've had so many people from Welsh Labour, from all around Welsh Labour around the country who've been here campaigning on the doorsteps. They will have had those conversations with people.
Not the Caerphilly councillors, though. They've been...
Yeah, but we have from all around Wales. From all around Wales, volunteers. That's what we're very good at in Labour Party, is getting those troops out on the doorstep, and they've had lots of conversations. So we don't have to go into a lot of introspection here. Sure. That would be the last thing.
But it's not good optics if your own councillors aren't out campaigning in a by-election with, the weight that this one in particular is carrying. That's surely pointing to something fundamentally broken at the heart of Welsh Labour.
But that does not mean that we have to go into introspection or as you put it, some sort of reckoning within the Labour Party. There is a mood here with the candidate, with Welsh Labour, with all of our volunteers to get back on the front foot now and campaign to win this seat back, but also win the next May election.
Looking forward to the Senedd elections next May, who would you consider are your main opponents? Because Plaid has stole the progressive left-wing march here in Caerphilly, or do you think Reform is actually still your main opponent?
Well, just to point out, this is one by-election. It's an important by-election, but it's one by-election. I think there are two threats here. One is from Reform. I think they are an existential threat, as many people have said, to the Conservative Party. We are losing some votes to them as well, but I think we can pull those back.
Is Plaid an existential threat to you then on the left?
No, they aren't, because I think the bedrock of Labour support in Wales is still strong, and we've had so many conversations here with people, young and old in Caerphilly, who've said we will lend our vote, and this particularly over the last couple of weeks, people saying we need to defeat Reform, we will lend our vote to Plaid Cymru in this by-election, but come the May election, we are willing to get that vote back to you if you persuade us, if you work hard enough for that vote, and that's what people are looking for.
Just finished talking to Hugh Ranke-Davies from Welsh Labour. Despite the prognosis, despite the scale of the defeat that his party faced, he seemed a bit optimistic, and I thought something that was particularly interesting is that he described Welsh Labour as the underdog, and perhaps given tonight's result, they are, but it's a very interesting turn of phrase to use for a party that has tangible power today. Whether they will after the Senedd elections next May, time will tell. Your gain is Labour's very, very devastating loss. Did it even surprise you how bad it went for Labour?
I knew they were doing quite badly, but I didn't really fully appreciate how badly they've done. And I don't know if there's any way back for them now. And I would appeal to anyone who perhaps is thinking of a progressive Wales, a new and a more exciting Wales, come and join us, and there's a home for you there.
So Plaid has usurped Labour as the default left-wing option in Wales.
You could easily say that now, couldn't you, looking at that result? And it's a fact. It's a fact.
Moving forward, you can see Labour in decline, and there's one party that's surging here, and you can see from tonight's result, that's Reform UK.
You had Farage come up and to the constituency.
Yes.
He's obviously really disappointed. Do you feel a bit embarrassed that you had the big boss come up and that you couldn't follow through?
Sorry, embarrassed. I think the person who should be embarrassed is Keir Starmer, who failed to turn up here because he doesn't care about the constituency of Caerphilly. He doesn't care about the people of Wales. Look at his decisions he's made, punishing pensioners. Look at the decisions he's making every day that affects people here, and he couldn't even face them. That's cowardice. My party leader stood by me at every step of the way, and I stand by my party leader, and I'm proud of the vote share we had here tonight.
Is Welsh Labour dead, in your eyes, considering how they got trounced tonight?
They deserve to be. My goal is for a Reform government, so I don't care what they do. Right now, I'm focused on a Reform government here in Wales, and we're going to move forward every day for that.
Reen, hello. Sealed the deal?
What we've seen is that it's Plaid that offers now that positive alternative to Labour. They've won elections, Labour, for 100 years in Wales. They've been in charge in Welsh Government for 26 years. We can see now beyond any doubts that people want a change, and this is the strongest evidence that we have of what that change is that they're looking for, and that change is represented by Plaid Cymru.
Everyone knew Labour wouldn't do very well at this by-election, but has the sheer scale of this defeat surprised even you?
I think the one poll that came out last week confirmed what we were hearing on the doorstep, and I can't overemphasise how much the disillusionment with Labour was coming through to us, almost universal. So I'm not surprised that they are where they are. My experience has been of people saying, you know what, we're lifelong Labour supporters, and we're with you this time. Not begrudgingly, but happy to back a different vision. I think there was a time when we were saying Plaid Cymru can be an alternative to Labour. I think we're beyond that. Labour have been so firmly rejected here in one of its strongest strongholds this evening.
It is very clear that reform can be beaten by Plaid, and whatever Welsh Labour decides to do in terms of strategy moving forward, it will have to factor in the Plaid Cymru momentum that has been played out and seen in this by-election here in Caerphilly. So, you have views about the by-election, don't you? Would you up for chatting to us?
I'm quite busy. I have to go to...
All right. Did you vote yesterday?
I was ill yesterday.
You were ill. Can I ask how you voted yesterday?
I didn't vote at all.
You didn't vote at all?
No.
Why is that?
Because I got no faith in whoever's in that Senate.
You voted for reform, but you said you're happy Plaid won.
Oh, yeah.
Why?
Well, because it's not Labour.
Anyone but Labour?
Anyone but Labour. Anyone.
Would you have preferred reform to...
No, definitely not. I don't like the fella.
You voted for Plaid. Why did you vote for Plaid?
It's time for a change for Wales. A big change.
I mean, Labour have always been in power here. They've always had a Senate.
Too long. Way too long.
Why do you think it only took now for them to get kicked out?
Because Welsh are always Labour.
You could put a sheep's head and call it Labour and they'd vote for it.
That's the problem with Wales.
You could put a sheep with a Labour badge on it and people would still vote for it. The by-election result challenges that assumption, but it does speak to the wider, I suppose, narrative that has existed prior to this by-election, that Labour would never be separated from Caerphilly. Well, that's not true. This is a new order. What is the grievances of the people of Caerphilly? What is life like here?
I've lived here 62 years and I've been very happy, so I haven't got any problems.
Look at the state of the place. Clean up a bit.
There's the elite, if you like, and the upper class and the working class, and it'll always be that way.
Why hasn't Labour or Welsh Labour made that case? Because they're meant to be on the side of working people.
Are they? I don't know.
Why do you think Labour was so resoundingly rejected in Caerphilly?
Starmer.
Starmer,
yeah. I think with what they're doing with his group, just falling apart.
People are saying that, following this result, that Labour in Wales is dead. Do you agree with that assessment?
Oh, big time. Yes, definitely yes. I do believe that.
Do you agree with that assessment as a Labour man yourself?
Yeah, could be.
There's no way back. Do you think the Senate elections next year, it's just going to be more of the same?
They've got to pull themselves together, and I can't see them doing it. No.
I don't think the Labour government have ever known what is... Although they are Welsh people, they've never fought for us, never, ever.
Just taking a rain break under the shade of the Savers here in Caerphilly town centre. I've been here 3 days and I've heard a mix of views. A lot of it is not apathy. Voter turnout, 50.4% in a by-election. That just shows how much feeling there is here. People are pissed off. Just like many parts of Britain, it circles around the cost of living, NHS, pride in place. And when Labour has faced a lot of attention, they've not really had the answers. Richard Tunnicliffe has dithered, equivocated, not provided fulfilling, satisfactory answers. And, that can only last for so long. People have had enough. People have voted with their feet. The ballot box doesn't lie. Labour have been trounced here. People knew what was at stake here. There was a reform candidate here, and there was a very real chance of them winning. And so they found a haven in Plaid. Just on our way to go meet the author and sociologist Dan Evans to talk all things Labour, Caerphilly and Wales. For over 100 years, Caerphilly has only ever voted for Labour. That changed last night with Plaid Cymru. Is there some sort of mythological bind between Labour, Caerphilly and Wales? Could you contextualise that for us?
Sure, yeah. So Welsh Labour are truly hegemonic in Wales, and by which I mean they don't just have political control, they have cultural control, they have sort of, I would argue, control of the institutions. If you look in academia, if you look in the third sector, the trade unions, they really have people, sort of supporters everywhere. As people have argued for some time, that hegemony is relatively fragile. So beyond civil society, beyond political society, they are not popular. But I think the bigger, deeper question is, Welsh Labour built a political culture here. Labourism was built on a particular set of institutions. The trade unions, the bricks and mortar institutions like the miners' welfare halls, the libraries, heavy industry, all things which have massively declined under Labour's watch, I should say. And now they are, the chickens coming home to roost, or they're reaping the whirlwind of this. That political culture has died. It hasn't been reflected necessarily in the political outcomes over the last few years, but now it is actually catching up with them. I think if you look at what's happening in the Senate, a lot of long-standing Labour ministers have already said they're not going to be contesting their seats in 2026, or they're standing down. So they can clearly see which way the wind is blowing, but I think the scale of the collapse is staggering. It's incredible. I mean, I do think this is the start of the end for Labour in Wales, and possibly across the UK as well.
Just how much of people's frustration here and the result, how much of that is a reflection on Welsh Labour and its particular handling of the Senate and government?
It's difficult to say. I mean, there's a couple of structural issues, like Wales doesn't have its own a really strong media, so naturally people get most of their information from Westminster. Most people's focus is on Westminster, and I would say that the main reason behind the collapse of the Labour vote in Wales is at the moment down to the unpopularity of the Labour government in Westminster. Having said that, Welsh Labour are unpopular in Wales. They've had 20 years to turn stuff around in Wales, and on almost every measure things have got worse here. Child poverty is up, educational inequalities are increasing, homelessness is up. They haven't done a good job. They are not popular with people. So I'd say it's a mix. Welsh Labour are not popular, and Labour in Westminster are probably more unpopular. So take that together and it's a recipe for disaster.
What do you think went wrong specifically in the Caerphilly campaign? There was a lot of agitation over the selection of Richard Tunnicliffe as the candidate. A lot of the local councillors didn't get out the vote and canvass. Is this symptomatic of a party that is in dysfunction?
Absolutely. You've seen huge disquiet within the local Labour Party in Caerphilly. The campaign, I think, was entirely negative. It was focused on Plaid, painting Plaid as sort of demonic. Some of the campaign literature was just surreal. And I think if you look at what's happened in other campaigns, so the Grangetown by-election, for example, the Labour councillors were sort of sneaking around. But the one thing you would say about Welsh Labour in the past is that they've got a very strong ground game. They do get out the vote. They're sort of very visible. That's not the case. It's almost as if they can tell that they seem already beaten, and that's the message that I'm getting anyway.
You say they're beaten. Could you say that Welsh Labour is dead?
Well, I think it might be in 2026. I mean, it's certainly looking that way. I don't know what they would have to do to turn it around. It's a party in disarray. I should say as well that you've had loads and loads of ruptures and internal divides and controversy within Welsh Labour over the past year or so. You've had the imposition, or allegedly imposition, of Vaughan Gethin as the First Minister. It's absolutely disastrous tenure. Jeremy Miles's camp alleged that there was foul play. You've had the total marginalisation of the left in Wales. Leading left figures have been expelled, people like Darren Williams. So you don't have a strong party grassroots. There's no young leftist activists coming through. They've all been marginalised. And it really is, this is almost the end point of Starmerism, I'd say. They've spent all their time marginalising left, doing witch hunts, imposing their own candidates, and eventually it's caught up to them. They haven't got the people to get out the vote. They haven't got the people to. They haven't got exciting candidates coming through. They've got people who just these people who look as if they come off a production line in every constituency, who are deeply unpopular, but that doesn't seem to have resonated with people in number 10.
I suppose there's two ways of reading what happened in this by-election here in Caerphilly. For Labour, I suppose it can be read in one of two ways. One, reform is beatable and that a left-wing progressive voice can do that, but at the same time, their own performance does suggest that perhaps Plaid is stealing the march on them. Given Caerphilly and Wales's history and association with Labour, perhaps it isn't too late to win people back, but to get people on side, there's going to be a need for tangible change, but also something more, something that resonates with people. I suppose what people feel here in Caerphilly is that for 26 years of Labour being in power in the Senedd, they've been taken for granted, that their vote is assured. This by-election has proved that that is far from the truth. People do talk about the death of Welsh Labour, and we'll have a bit more on that assertion in next May's Senedd elections. Like with anything in British politics, predicting anything is a fool's game.
Sometimes there's a moment where the tide goes out on you, and we could feel it over the last couple of weeks. But it'll be different in May. I feel that because we've spoken to a lot of people on the doorstep who've said we've lent our votes here in order to defeat reform, but we're willing to come back to you.